If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
Yeah, well, not quite. Yeah, let's stick to football.
We are back, baby! Am I live? Hey, these are family matters right here.
Hey, is that a regulation-sized football or what?
Hey, I think that's a first down in my book. Am I live? Are we good? Are we live here? No, your people, my people. Hey, I'm glad they worked it out. We're here now, so let's fucking go. Hey, I'm pumped. You guys are doing a hell of a job here at the Round Robin Pod.
Some sort of like welcome to the pod.
Hey, there it is.
No. You gotta do something.
Yeah, we need an intro, dude. Fucking welcome to the pod. All right, welcome back to the Round Robin Sports Betting Pod. It's Tuesday, October 1st, and we're 4 weeks through NFL, quarter of the way through the season. So we'll do a quick review and a look ahead to next week. But first, baseball playoffs started today, James.
Yep. We don't bet a lot of regular season baseball, but when the playoffs roll around, we've always bet a decent amount of games. And
we bet regular season baseball when the A's are good. We don't.
That's
we
true.
just
or really when it's just been a few years since we've been really into baseball.
Well, no, when the A's are good, I feel like we're betting baseball because
the thing about the A's is they're always undervalued. So when they're good,
even when they're good,
such a good price.
Even when they're good, nobody bets the A's. So we're just getting the A's at 10 or 20 cents better than they should be.
Yeah, and they played a little bit better than expected this year. They might actually be good next year, so we might be really in to regular season baseball again.
I was really hoping that was going to be the case with the Raiders this year, but
they're 2-2, dog. They look great.
Okay. All right. Sorry. So baseball playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we several years ago really figured out a lot of times going to games, playoff games, there's just this sense that we found of being the home team is such a disadvantage in MLB playoffs because when the crowd gets the loudest, it's always when the home team is batting. That's when you get excited as a home fan. There's exciting plays on defense, but you're never on your feet. Unless it's
I love this so much. It's like one of my favorite things that you've ever figured out. So, what are the numbers?
We figured this out literally when we were like teenagers going like diehard baseball fans, and we'd be in the Coliseum and it's just shaking and the A's have the bases loaded. And I'm like, dude, chill out, everybody.
Be quiet.
It's really hard to hit right now. Like everybody's just screaming their heads off and the whole place is shaking. And so, anyway, we've bet the road team, MLB playoffs, super sharp every single year. And a good example, like last year, the road team was 26-15. And the thing about on the money line, almost all were dogs. Every game, especially in the first few rounds, especially on like opening day, like today, all four road teams are dogs. So we're betting blindly all four road teams, money line, and I even round robin all four of them together. So that's the round robin for today.
So the theory is, which is like my favorite thing, but the theory is when the home team is at home, the fans go crazy when they're batting, but that's actually counterintuitive to what you want because when you're pitching a baseball, you need the crowd to amp you up. And when you're hitting, you actually want everything to be totally silent. Like one of the like arguments for why steroids were so helpful and why like cocaine and Adderall and all that stuff was banned is because if you can like block out noise and really focus in hitting, it like really, really helps. So it's a really awesome theory.
This is the one thing we always talk about, and like it's the best conversation just between you and me for all these years is just like, hey, another road dog, gotta fire him. Like MLB, it's just the greatest. So today we got Tigers in Houston as a dog, plus 125. Royals in Baltimore, plus 125. Mets in Milwaukee, plus 125. And Braves in San Diego, plus 160. Just bet the dogs. And this is day one, and we're going to be betting all the road dogs every single game of the Major League Baseball playoffs.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's do the sharpest things. So, okay, we've done 4 weeks. We've seen 4 weeks of NFL, and so we've going into the season, we got some things right and some things wrong, but we were pretty sharp on a good amount of things. The first one being, you said going into the season that Jaden Daniels and the Commanders would win the NFC East. And you said that Jaden Daniels would be the best quarterback in the division by the end of the season. And I think he's the best quarterback in the division by week 4. So that was pretty sharp.
Yeah, I just think there's like when someone wins the Heisman and they've done it already in college and they have a bunch of reps, like it's so much different than like an Anthony Richardson coming in who has so much talent and raw physical ability, but it's all up here like for the quarterbacks. And like you saw Joe Burrow just like come right in. You could tell he was really good. And so Jaden just reminded me so much of Lamar, but he could throw the ball a little bit better right away. So I just thought there was a potential. It wasn't like guaranteed sort of thing, but it's turning out to be, I think, right. I think he's already the best quarterback. I'm way down though on Dak and Jalen Hurts. So other people could argue that they're better. But I think as time goes on, more and more people will say, yeah, Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the division.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would argue with you right now. I mean, Daniels just looked amazing. The other thing that I forgot to write down that actually should go on this list is my big thing coming into this season was this is the first year of rookie quarterbacks that played like super COVID senior seasons in college, where Jaden Daniels is old, like he's like 24 years old, and Bo Nix is like 25. So like my prediction was we would have an outlier season where typically half of the NFL quarterbacks are good in the first round, and I thought many more than that would be. And yeah, Jaden Daniels has been awesome. The other thing we said coming into the season, I was really high on the Seahawks and them hiring the offensive coordinator from the University of Washington and his fit with Geno, and then Mike McDonald as their head coach. And they're just, I mean, we gave out plus 600 to win the NFC West and 75 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. And yeah, I know they lost last night, but I still think that was like a moral victory. Like, I'm not downgrading them. I think it was a really bad spot to play the Lions. The Lions have like basically not played a good game yet. And then you get them at home on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really bad spot. And they kind of kept up.
They did. I know you were traveling yesterday. I'm not sure if you saw all of it, but DK Metcalf fumbled when it was 7-0 and the Seahawks were driving. And that really changed the game. He fumbled. They ran it back to the red zone, scored a touchdown, made it 14-0.
Yeah, okay.
And just kind of like their whole game plan changes from there when you're down 2 touchdowns. But
totally.
They're good. Seahawks are good. That was a really, really good call by you.
The other thing you said was the Ravens would struggle because of their O-line the first few weeks, and then they get back on track, which seems like has happened. And also you said that you play the Ravens when Lamar has the extra motivation, like against Josh Allen or against Pat Mahomes, or when they're 0-2 in Dallas, and then you fade Lamar.
Or on prime time, like the prime time games too.
Yeah, you fade Lamar when he's in a spot where you can, anytime you can be like, does he care about this game? Like, how much is he going to run? Because, I mean, what we've seen is he just isn't a really good thrower of the football. So when he's going to run 10 or 15 times, they should win. Like, their defense looked incredible. I'm
really good. That was the sharpest play in a long time for us. Like, everybody won't love the Bills coming into week
Yes.
4. It's like Bills
Yes.
are unstoppable. Ravens are 1-2. And it's just like, all right, this is the spot. Like, of course, we're taking Baltimore in Baltimore as a short favorite. The kind of the handicap I like is if the Ravens can win the game without Lamar running, that's what he's going to do because he really doesn't want to take shots. Right. So like he didn't run at all the first couple quarters against the Raiders, 3 quarters, and they should have just won the game and he should have never had to take any hits. Right. And then they kind of blew the game. They miss a field goal.
Yes.
A couple things happen. And it's like, oh, but like they could have, if Lamar played a Lamar game, like where he's all in and he's running 10, 15 times a game, they would have beat the Raiders by 17 points probably. And so it's just like, that's a very, it's smart. Like he shouldn't run if he doesn't have to. So it's just something to keep in mind going forward with the Ravens.
It's really sharp. It's really sharp. Okay. The other thing you said, we kind of agree, but this was your take really, was the Steelers would have the best defense in the NFL. And then this one was more mine, but I talked you into it coming into the season, is that the Bears stink. Like the Bears stink. Eberflus stinks. I still think Caleb could be good. I don't think he'll ever be the best player in football. He is not Pat Mahomes.
By the way, is Pat Mahomes still the best player in football?
I don't know. You hate Jalen Hurts, and they have the exact same stats since so far this season.
I think he has more interceptions than Jalen Hurts too.
I think they've each thrown 4. I think.
Yeah.
Hurts has more fumbles though. My pride and joy so far through the season is that the Browns would be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Oh yeah, you said 3-14, and I almost choked on my tongue, and it looks like they might be a 3-14 team.
Bro, they're so bad. They're so bad. They I mean, like, no offense to the Raiders, but they couldn't even figure out how to win that game without Crosby and Adams. And the Raiders are like a disaster right now. Like Pierce is crumbling, Adams is getting traded, Crosby didn't play. Minshew was bad in that game. Like they're saying that Deshaun Watson through 4 weeks, I think it's the worst quarterback play by like EPA, like expected points per attempt or something, whatever, like the like quantifiable, like really good gambling stat is for quarterbacks. It's like the worst 4 weeks of quarterback play since like the 1970s. It's really
which is awesome.
Yeah, he really deserves all the bad karma, and so do the Browns, honestly, for paying him $250 million. The next one is it's not really sharp, but it's technically working. I said the Chiefs would have a shot at going 17-0. They aren't even good, and they're 4-0. So
it's crazy, right?
It's on the list. I mean, that kind of leads into like what I saw last week and what I'm thinking for next week. So, like last week's bets, you took Chargers +7, and I think it was one of the best bets of the whole week. I watched every play of that game, and I bet the Chargers money line at halftime. Like I was like, oh, Rashee Rice is out, and I think it was the right side. The Chargers, like, the guy caught the first down and like fell down early, and then he didn't get touched, and then Harbaugh didn't challenge. He took a timeout, and then they didn't get the first down, and that was it. Like the game's over. You can't beat the Chiefs if you turn the ball over on the 3-yard line.
It seems like teams do that all the time against the Chiefs, and if you can just play mistake free, like a lot of these teams, they'll beat the Chiefs. They just never do. It's so strange.
It's so crazy because, like, all right, so I was watching that game with my buddy who played football, and he trains a bunch of the football guys, and he goes, dude, we were both just like marveling at how every week we're like, hey, the Chiefs are gonna finally lose, and then like sure enough, like, nope, they're not gonna lose actually. So I'm playing the Saints blind next week.
That's one of my favorite bets of the week.
After
week 2, you asked me if the Saints are good, and I said no.
I think they are,
and they stink. I still don't think they're great, but I think they've gone from overvalued to now they're undervalued. They've lost 2 in a row. Their defense is good. They didn't allow an offensive touchdown last
Their
week.
defense is awesome.
I still think Derek Carr is a liability.
Sure,
but
sure.
This is the kind of game, like, their defense looks good enough that the Chiefs are down a bunch of players. They're going to be able to keep the game close. They're going to run the ball. And then Carr's good enough to take a couple shots down the field. And if they can just hit on any of them, they're going to be right in this game. And I think they can actually maybe beat the Chiefs.
Did you know that I think they're gonna beat them. Did you know it's a Monday Night Football game too? It's either Sunday or Monday night. It's a national TV game. So did you know that the Saints and Falcons was the biggest bogus result of the whole weekend?
Yes. Yeah. I watched that game and
so I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I really wanted to play the Saints plus 2.5. And so I was keeping an eye on the score. I did see the first play where they muffed a punt and the Falcons went up. So there's basically two defensive touchdowns in that game. And the no bogus score. There's an analytical formula that determines what the score would have been without bullshit touchdowns in the game, and it said the Saints by the stats should have won by 11 points.
Yeah, it felt like it's like one of those games where one team dominates the whole game and somehow loses. We've seen that several times this year.
The Falcons suck. Like, I really want to play. I really wanted to fade the Falcons, fade the Chiefs, and play the Saints coming up this week. But the Tampa and Atlanta game is on Thursday. So I think I decided to stay away because I'm really obsessed with your theory on Thursday Night Football that you don't have time to prepare or get healthy. So the team with the best athletes and the most make plays guys is going to win the game. And I think that's the Falcons, unfortunately, because I would love to fade them. But Jesse Bates and Drake London and what's the running back's name?
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson. They've got guys that can just take over a game for a few possessions at a time. And so I would probably just stay away. So last week's bets, the two things I missed last week that really, really infuriated me were
Broncos. You love the Broncos.
I loved the Broncos. It's more about I loved that everyone was saying how good the Jets were because they beat the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. It was it's more on my Thursday Night Football stuff. I felt going into that game that Rodgers would look good in that game, but it didn't necessarily mean anything about them going forward because the Patriots are one of the least talented teams in the league. And the way I look at the Jets is they're not well coached and they're not well schemed, and Rodgers is old. So if one of those things wasn't true, then I'd be more interested in their possibilities. But they rely entirely on Rodgers being awesome and being on the same page with their receivers because their coordinator's bad. Hackett and Saleh are bad. So, and Rodgers wouldn't even listen to them anyway. So it's really hey, we're on the same. I got to be on the same page with these really good receivers, and he's just not yet. So maybe that'll change, but as of now, I don't think they're very good. And then the other thing I really am bummed that I missed is that it was the Cliff Kingsbury revenge game in Arizona because it really just looked like, hey, I know exactly what to do against these guys. They have no shot. I'm sure he went and told everyone on the defensive staff, here's what Kyler is good and is not good at. And then he schemed up a bunch of stuff dude, Jaden Daniels looks so good. It's not even he looks good the football stuff. He looks insanely confident. Every shot of him is he's the man. I'm really bummed I didn't listen to you when you were I'm not fading Jaden. You were I'm just not going to fade Jaden Daniels because you pulled the Cardinals out of your picks.
Yeah. What does that make you think about the Cardinals for next week, though? Because clearly
there's a ton of value on the Cardinals next week.
Yeah,
they're getting 7.5 somewhere.
They're playing the Niners, which they always play the Niners close.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in my picks this week. It's one of the
Seven.
gross games.
Yeah. Seven. I mean, 7.5 is a really good number. So fuck it.
Yeah. So
But yeah, it is one of the ones I liked.
Did you have anything else for the week?
No, those were.
I really wanted to go back to the games that we talked about coming into week 4 that were the buy low, sell high games.
Yeah. Okay.
The teams who lost.
The perfect
come against.
I like calling them the perfect storm crossfade buy
the
low,
crossfade.
sell high.
So we talked about it wasn't necessarily, it's just teams that are undervalued versus teams that are overvalued.
Totally.
And it doesn't necessarily mean one team won and one team lost. Like the Bengals the Jaguars were 0-3, and everybody was still really high on the Texans. So we talked about how good of a pick the Jaguars were, getting 7. When we filmed that pod, they were +7, closed at 6. Yeah. They covered that one easily. We talked about the Bengals.
Well, really quick. Easily is a bit of a terrifying way to announce the pitchy woo woo that almost went for a pick 6 to fucking blow that cover. I was like, dude, I was like, this was the right side. No,
yeah. That's true. But it was like the whole game. It was just a close game the whole game.
Yeah, no, they were ahead with like 3 minutes left. Yeah.
And then we talked about the 0-3 Bengals. And if there was ever a time to fade the Panthers coming off a humongous win against the Raiders, it was that game. That one won. So I was 2-0. We talked about that one. We talked about the Bucks coming off a loss against the Eagles as a home dog against the Eagles, who came off a win. That one easily won. We were 3-0 there. We talked about the Colts coming off a loss against the undefeated Steelers as a dog at home. That one I just tricked myself into betting the Steelers.
It's tough. It's tough to balance, like, okay, this team's bad versus this team's good. And like, but sometimes it doesn't matter. The spot is too important. Like, it was just a really good spot for Indy. And to be honest, bro, it's still like the Pittsburgh still could have won that game and covered. Like, they had a shot.
That's true. That one actually wasn't even on our list. I'm sorry, because the Colts had won the week before.
Justin Fields had a really, really bad turnover, and it was 14-0 quickly, and you got the Flacco, the weird Flacco sub in for. I mean, one of your main handicaps for that game was I'm fading Anthony Richardson against the best defense that forces the most turnovers.
He got hurt in the first. He got hurt immediately, and it was a unbelievably bad play by him where he ran and did a terrible slide and fumbled. Actually, he fumbled the ball, and the Steelers had a great chance to recover it. It turned into a Joe Flacco game, and Joe Flacco is better than Anthony Richardson.
No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt.
Like we saw him last year in the playoffs.
He got
unbelievably bad. It felt like a huge, huge bad beat in that one.
Yeah.
What were the other games? So we went 3-0 there, and then we talked about the Cardinals was one. But we decided, that was just one. The one.
Well, no, the Cardinals was still the correct spot in the terms of the crossfade, but unfortunately, I forgot about how important a variable it is when your former coach, like when you have a limited, like a quarterback like Murray, who's flawed, and then you have his former coach, who's an offensive guru. That is a thing that goes, oh, you know what? This is a stay away, actually. So we just missed it.
Yeah. The other
actually, you didn't miss it. I missed it.
We had the Ravens were another one.
Yep.
Against undefeated Bills. Anyway, we did really well. The only one that lost was the Cardinals of all the games that we were cross-fading.
The other thing I said that was I should just play all these big dogs because of how well they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking ahead to next week, and and maybe this is what you're about to do too, but the crossfade games are, unfortunately, the Jets and the Vikings are in London, but that's a very, very clear one to me. That line's really fishy too.
Really fishy.
The
Panthers.
The next one is that line already moved. Panthers +4 was like going to be one of my favorite bets of the week. That was the second most fluky finish. The Bears ended up winning and covering, and the stats say that the Rams actually should have won that game.
Also, Andy Dalton played really well again.
Yeah, no, the Panthers are not bad. That was like a like end of the world. Bengals have to win this game spot. And actually, they were like driving late to cover too. It was like kind of sweaty.
Yeah.
So, ooh, Bills and Texans is a good one. I think the Texans are not very good. I mean, okay, their O line is not very good, which is a problem for them. And it's a good, the Bills. I think it's probably a good spot to play the Bills.
The Brownies.
The Browns. I know that
it's a gross one.
That line is so fishy too.
It's super fishy. Browns pass rush is good.
Why is that line 3?
Because the Browns are going to play well.
The Browns are going to win that game, right?
I bet. What if Jameis Winston was the starter? Would you bet them?
Oh my God, I love Jameis Winston, dude. Hey, if Jameis Winston starts playing quarterback for the Browns, I'm gonna have to raise them up from 3-14 to at least 4.2, at least 4.2 wins for the season.
Jaguars. Jaguars at home.
How's my hair doing, by the way? Sankey said he only watches the pod on good hair days, and that my good hair is correlated to good picks. Bad hair is correlated to bad picks.
It looks great. I mean, we're not really picking anything today. It's kind of a recap. I know I've narrowed my 5 circa picks down to 7 games. So I know it's within those. It's what the ones we're talking about right now.
Okay.
These crossfades. Jaguars -3 at home against the Colts. Colts coming off a win. I actually really like this one. I think the Jags are probably a better team, to be honest. Division game, they're at home. I know the Jags have looked really bad.
I hate the Jags,
looked really
dude.
bad. I know.
I hate the Jags.
I know. Then there's the Bills, Cardinals at Niners.
Yep.
That one's probably going to be in there for me. A really, really gross spot.
Saints is in there for sure.
Saints is going to be in there.
Ugh, I guess we're gonna have to bet the Raiders.
And then Steelers at home against the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's might be a stay away. Just because the Cowboys have that extra rest. Is that a Sunday night game? Ooh, yeah. Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. That's going to be in there for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the possibility. We're going to deep dive into this for our next pod, but the possibility of the uptick in scoring starting now.
Yes. So good. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say what we really want to do is get ahead of like there's going to be a lot of blind betting. I don't know. Maybe the squares really never blind bet dogs, but yeah, as the totals get higher and the teams start scoring more, that obviously favors home favorites in general, better teams in general. But we still just want to look for the spots that make sense. So I like what you said, early look for Jets, Panthers, Bills, Jags, Browns, Cardinals, Steelers, maybe Raiders, Saints for sure. So let's do a full handicapping pod of the games that we still really like of that in a few days. And maybe we'll make a short tomorrow to see how the baseball stuff does.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. That's it.
Go road dogs, baby.
Yeah, road. Just all dogs in general. All dogs go to heaven. That's my motto I just made up. And then wait. I think that's it.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
We'll be on soon.
See ya.
Bye.